All right, welcome into the very first night of the 5 Keys of Marketing training with our success group. My name is Aaron Montgomery, and this amazing gentleman right over here is Mr. Todd Downing. Todd, 5 Keys of Marketing, brother. How pumped are you?
Aaron, are you pumped? I am jacked. I've been excited about this. Even when I found out that when we were scheduling it out, I'm like, oh, yeah, let's do it on the 5th. I didn't think, that the 5th was Labor Day. So everybody that showed up, hey, hats off to you.
Yeah.
Hey,
well, Labor Day's over, right? It's time to get back to work. So we're
time to start laboring on your business, getting your marketing under control, and then making those gazillions afterwards. Because, hey, anybody that has made gazillions of dollars, you know what they did? They had a plan, right? They had a plan. And that's what a lot of this is making that plan, doing the work, people. Yeah. We're going to ask some things out of you. It may push you out of your comfort zone, but I am telling you, trust the process, trust the people, trust us. I promise you, if you do these things, great things will happen. So buckle up. We're in for a ride, folks.
Yeah, this is pretty exciting. And so let's you know what, Todd, without further ado, the whole point here is we want these things to kind of be fast and furious, in a sense, and not because we want to overwhelm you. So here's the first point that I want to make sure that we're clear with you guys about. We want to go fast and furious because we want to build momentum. Right. And the more we can push right now, the more momentum you're going to build. Right. And we're going to be there to help you and support you after that. So don't worry about it. But we want to go through this stuff, get you guys moving forward and really have momentum. Right. I said that enough times now. Momentum. We get that. Right. So all right. Well, let me start by I'll get this up. And then, Todd, if you wouldn't mind kind of handling a little bit of housekeeping here first, and then we can dive right in.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So welcome. The entire OSG community, the OSG squad, and club members. Thank you guys for tuning in. Plus, all of you guys who are not members that signed up for the 5 Keys workshop, thank you. Thank you for thinking of yourself and putting yourself first for once. You deserve it. You deserve to have a good business. You deserve to have a great plan, and we're going to help you do that. So here's how this works, okay? Unlike our weekly lives, these trainings, these videos, what we're going to do is go through them, answer questions at the end. We're not going to stop. We're going to power through everything, share the content, Q&A at the end. So feel free to comment along the line. But remember, we're going to come back to it at the end. The other thing is that you're going to have access to these for 90 days, right? If you are in the workshop, you get it for 90 days. If you're a member, guess what? Lifetime. So membership has its perks. Doesn't expire to 90 days. So think about that. If you want this longer than 90 days, look at the membership option. Also, OSG Squad members and VIPs, don't forget that we have the implementation call that is going to be on September 14th. Now, that is at 7 p.m. Central, so same time, but that is September 14th. And we're going to talk more about that later on in the workshop. Also, make sure that you have the workbook, folks. A lot of time, effort went into that workbook. Make sure that you have that ready to available. You can download it from the link, and I think Aaron is putting it in the chat for you too, so that way you can get it there for it. And remember, we want you to be 100% satisfied, okay? And if you're not, we're going to give you your money back. But what does that mean? It means you have to actually put in the work, folks. You just can't say, hey, this didn't work. Because I'm going to ask you questions. Did you try this? Did you try this? Did you try this? Because at the end of the day, we know you can be successful. We want you to be successful. You have to believe in yourself that you can be successful. Take charge of your life. Take charge of your business. Now is the time to do that. So I think without further ado, Aaron, what do you say? We get right into this?
Yes, I agree that we get right into this. That's awesome. And thank you guys. Thanks everybody for being here and joining in the live version. If you're catching the recorded version, like Todd said, around for 90 days, unless you're an OSG squad member or a Masters of Success member, that's all the same thing. Then yes. So Todd, we normally don't do this. So this is going to be, but we just wanted to kind of make sure that you guys understood where this comes from, right? Because we know there's some new folks here, and we just wanted to make sure that everybody kind of gets that we're sharing this as not another kind of get rich quick scheme, like get rich for Todd and I scheme, right? Which is what a lot of these marketing things are out there. It's a get rich quick scheme. It just happens to be for the person selling it, not for you. Right. And then, we kind of live, breathe, and use these fundamentals in our day-to-day lives, really. Even, we go that deep with it. So we just wanted to quickly share what our experience is with. So let me just introduce myself real quick. Aaron Montgomery, Jack Canfield Certified Success Principles Trainer, Virtual Facilitator Trainer. I have been around this industry since 2000. And then on up until 2013, I started a podcast. And like I mentioned, I became Success Principles certified. And I've just really kind of been a student of success for a long time. I actually was raised in my father's entrepreneurial kind of world. He was an accountant and helped small businesses. So this is where a lot of this stuff comes from, my side of it. And then when I met Todd, I could see that, it went from him being just this small startup, really kind of side hustle, Todd, I think might be an appropriate term. And you can share a little bit more about this. I don't want to give away all Todd's stuff here, but I could see that he understood the process from going from this smaller startup into a successful decorator, because he knew and followed what the core fundamentals were, the knowing your numbers, the setting goals, having a solid marketing foundation, which is what we're going to work on here tonight. And so I knew that was kind of the signal for me that my calling to help support small business owners was what I needed to head after. So I also knew I needed to better define the fundamentals of business or really life. And so I became that Success Principles certified trainer. And while Todd and I were getting OSG off the ground at that point. So it's all kind of evolved. And so the point being is, after 2 years of running OSG full time myself here, I know that my turning point goal is to share the mastermind program, share workshops like this, and do all that kind of stuff, because I've seen it work, right? I've been around it. I've done it, all that kind of stuff. So that's a little bit about me. Todd, quickly about you as well, sir.
So I'm gonna get right to it. I'm like a lot of you guys, how you started out with, where you just weren't sure. For me, I started out with a vinyl cutter. I was cutting decals. This is about '07 for race cars, right? Use that money for play money. It was fun. Hey, vacation, vehicle, whatever. It wasn't anything that I really depended on. In 2015, after, years of using it as that side hustle and just kind of go from there, I topped out at where I was in my job. I tried to buy the company I worked for. We couldn't make a deal happen. And I realized that that's where I was. I was stuck in that. I couldn't make anything more. It was time for a change. So what we did is we started focusing on growing business. We invested everything we had back into it. Every cent that we had it was coming in, we put back into it. And then within 3 years, we were able to grow from that spare room to that 400 square foot storefront, to that 3,500 square foot storefront, and then the 8,500 square foot mall location. And so we did that, within about 3 years. We got 6 figures in sales. I was able to quit my full-time job and make this the full-time gig. Took a pay cut doing it, but I knew the processes, I knew the play, I knew what needed to be done. And most importantly, I believed in myself. There was no, there was no, I can't do this. We had to make it happen. And that's what we did. So, like I said, I was in many of your spots. I knew there had to be a way to make this happen. And throughout my career of putting systems in places at the different jobs that I had in managerial positions, helping right-hand mans of owners, watching other companies be built, being part of that process. I learned a lot over 20 years of doing that. And there was a lot of those things that could be put into this. The biggest thing that I can give anybody is believe in yourself. Don't listen to anybody else. Just listen to yourself. Do what you need to do, not what somebody else tells you to do. Because I guarantee you do that and you follow this stuff that's in place. This is the stuff I use in my business every day, folks. It's the same things I use. I wouldn't tell you to try something that I wouldn't do myself. And this is one of them. And in fact, as we're building out our DTF transfer side of the business, we're going through this right here with you. I am sitting on the other side of the table. I am Fat Dad today. We are going through this week, and we're building it out just like we're one of you. So I'm here to answer all your questions, walk you through this, and be a part of it, because I know people, we can all have a very successful fourth quarter. So I'm excited about this, and we're going to get right into it. Aaron, what do we got?
Definitely. Let me just share real quick one more part of our team here.
Is she there? No, you're going to do it. I thought I was waiting for her to pop up.
No, she's not going to pop up. No, she's like you though, Todd. She's sitting on the other side as a participant as well. She's got a couple companies, WeHeart.biz and Montco.biz, so she's going through the same process. Again, it's stuff that we use in and out each day, but she just also happens to be a part of. See, at our success group, we kind of believe in this well-rounded, balanced approach. And she's also a yoga instructor and a counselor and a success principles trainer. So she kind of heads up the wellness side. So just, if you feel like there's something beyond business fundamentals that are holding you back, or that maybe are some challenges that you might like a little extra support with, reach out to us. We can get you in connection with Kylene, and she does a lot of really cool things. So just wanted to share that other little bit while we were sharing. I couldn't leave that off. So
yeah, and the great thing about Kylene is when you look at it overall, here's the thing, folks, business is not sunshine and roses. There are days of crying. There are days of this is it. I'm done with it. I'm not doing it again. It is not this magical Instagram land of money, yachts, fast cars, fast women. That no, it's grind, it's hustle, it's getting in there and doing the work. It doesn't always turn out great, and there's an ugly side to business that nobody talks about, and there's a big mental side to it, and that's why on their side with the OSG and with that wellness part, that's a huge part of it. Get your mind right, and things are going to go right for you.
Yeah. And we Todd, we started this because we knew that there was a better way, right? We saw the hustle grind, we saw all this, and it's like, gosh, how can we find this balance? Because what your idea of success is, what my idea of success is, everybody's idea of success is a little bit different. And like you said, it's about the mentality. So we won't get too much deeper in that because we want to dive right into this. This quote here, you guys can read that while kind of talk about this. But this is the third year we've been running the 5 Keys of Marketing Experience. And each year before putting it together, Todd and I kind of go, okay, what can we do better, right? And honestly, we hope that's part of your business process. How often are you reviewing the things that you do and constant daily improvements, right? But what we kind of discovered from the feedback and the different things we're thinking about is the challenges weren't necessarily exactly the how of marketing, right? Like, could I show you how to do TikTok or Facebook or other things like that? We were hearing that all the time. Well, what channel should I use? And Todd, I think this was, when you said this to me, this was what I think set the light bulb off for both of us is you're like, well, it depends, right? Yeah. And that set the light bulb off. It's like, yeah, it does depend, right? So it's really the how or kind of what strategies to use is kind of what we're going to get to. But the common denominator was trying to market to everyone and then not getting your message across clearly. So, hundreds of dollars in ads being kind of flushed away, so to speak, and excessive amounts of trial and error, right? There is going to be some trial and error, but excessive amounts, we were seeing a lot of that. And just countless hours of basically virtually talking to yourself about how great your company is, right? We've seen all those things, and heck, we've even done some of those things. And so this quote really kind of rung true for me. Selling to people who actually want to hear from you is more effective than interrupting strangers who don't, right? So we realized that we had to kind of help the OSG community better understand who their ideal customer is. So tonight, we're not only going to show you how to find your ideal customer, but we're also going to encourage you to get into action. So Todd already talked about the workbook. Make sure you've got it. Even if you've just downloaded it and then you have a pad of paper or something like that, make sure you've got this handy. And because you're going to be doing the work as we're going through this here. And we also want to encourage you to use tonight's action as momentum, right? If you feel like you're stuck, you have to ask. It comes along with more action. You just have to ask. As Todd said, we're going to stay as long as we need to answer any Q&A. You can reach out to us by email. I'll even put it up on the screen right now, success@oursuccessgroup.com. Or you can scan this QR code here and send a volley. And we won't even get into that, but it's just a way to send a video message so we can kind of understand the question better. You get better answers back. And it's just kind of a great new way to communicate that I've discovered. So if we're good on that, you guys know to ask. You can't just go, okay, I don't quite understand what Aaron was talking about. I'm just going to, I don't want to seem stupid for not knowing. No, what you need to do is you need to ask and you need to go, okay, yep, because I guarantee you that if you're having a problem with that, a dozen other people are probably having the same problem at least, right? And so you need to ask, you need to get that out there. All right, so Todd, let's do this. We want to get the mindset right. Go. Yep. Ideal customer. And I guess we need to define what we're trying to pinpoint first, right? We also have to put your mind at ease about something here. I think one of the things that I've noticed for myself and other people I've talked to is when you start thinking about an ideal customer, you start thinking about a niche market. That's another way people might talk about this. You start to kind of get a little like, oh crap, what am I missing out, right? The scarcity mindset comes into play. And what we need to do is we need to be able to trust that instinct that we have and just go with whatever shows up. So what we're going to ask you to do tonight is we're going to ask you to narrow down your ideal customer to such fine detail that it feels like you're speaking to one single person. We know a business can and really should have several different types of customers, and you will ultimately. And honestly, Todd's a great example of this. His business, Fat Dad, he's got retail type customers from local sports organizations. He's got wholesale stuff. So, but we're going to pin this down to one type, because for this process to work, you have to trust that what we're doing is narrowing it down to a single person that you can market to. And then once you do this, then you can go back and kind of widen. And we're going to talk about that at the end, how to look at widening that. In fact, that'll be part of the process in the 5th night too. So don't worry about the fact that we're coming down to this very fine point, because when we do that, right, you're going to be able to communicate more clearly, and that's going to help you actually attract ideal customers more quickly, even though it feels like you're only talking to one person. Because I don't know if you guys have heard this before, so that's okay. When you try to be all things to everybody, what happens, Todd?
You suck.
You end up being nothing to nobody, right? and that can be extremely expensive and time consuming. And so we're not really defining limits of who you're going to do business with, what business you're taking in. What we're defining at this granular level is so you can attract the right customers. So if a person that shows up to your business after seeing your marketing or whatever, and they're not exactly this person, then take the job anyways, right? If it's a job that you are going to enjoy doing, that's going to be profitable for you, and it's worth your time, then take the job. Your marketing still worked. You just got feedback. Because the reason we want to get down to this granular level is we're focused on a 12-week, what I would call a marketing sprint. A 3-month time period is really a sprint in the marketing world. And it's also the noisiest time of year for marketing in general. So narrowing it down will have that sharpest point that you can penetrate the market most deeply. So again, just want to reiterate, I know you're like, come on, Aaron, dive in. These things are really important. So we want to make sure we get this. Don't second guess yourself. Go with your gut, right? Be excited, because you cannot get this wrong when you're specific, right? There's no answer key. You're not being graded. Nobody's judging you. Even if we do end up giving you feedback, we're just giving you feedback so you have a different perspective, so you can continue to get as much clarity of your message as possible. It's not because you did it wrong. So the only kind of error, there's only really 2 errors that you can have here. Being a little bit too general, right? If you stop there and you don't dig deeper, then it's going to be a challenge, or not doing it at all, right? So with that being said, let's identify what an ideal customer is. First and foremost, it's somebody that you love doing business with, right? If you can't enjoy doing business with that type of person, business is going to be hard. And no matter how much money you're making, that money will not make up for the just terrible days. Your subconscious is going to sabotage you, because we don't really expand or grow or thrive until we get to that place of flow, really, right? And flow is doing something that we love, that we lose all track of time doing. So that's the first point about your ideal customer. It needs to be somebody we love doing business with. Those ideal customers also need to connect with your mission and values, right? So they don't have to be exactly you, right? They don't have to have the exact same values, but they have to respect that. They have to at least connect with what your mission and values are. And if you've never taken the time to define that, then they're not going to be able to connect with you. So that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow night. And then it has to be profitable, right? Todd says this all the time. I say this all the time. Profit is not a dirty word. That's what you're in business for. Profit is the lifeblood of your business that allows you to do the things that you need to do to support your family, support your community, support the people around you, to live your purpose, right? Without profit, it's very difficult to live your purpose. I saw a meme the other day that said something to the effect of, I want to be so wealthy that God serves his purpose through my wallet. That kind of thing. So really important there. And then the other thing here is we need to think about quality over quantity. Todd, you've talked about this before. I've heard you say it many times. You wanted to be doing business with 100 people that are coming back regularly, that are really kind of, living into those missions and values of yours, people you love doing business with, over doing business with 10,000 people that, it's one and done, right? So it's quality over quantity. So that's what I feel is an ideal customer, Todd. Anything to kind of share on that? I don't mean to just keep going. So.
No, that's the biggest thing there is that quality over quantity. I feel that very strongly. Do I want 100 customers that spend $1,000 a year or 1,000 customers that spend 100? Whole lot easier to work with 100 customers spending $1,000, right?
Yep,
The best thing
exactly.
is this will help us find our customers. That's what tonight is about, is that ideal customer. So even before, people are like, oh, when are you going to talk about marketing? And when should I put in ads like this? No. That's the biggest problem is that people are thinking about putting the cart before the horse. We need to find out who your customer is before we even get there. And that's something that is just so grossly missed by people. They just start throwing stuff out and it doesn't work. And when you ask, well, who's your customer? Who you're going after? They can't answer it. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So we're going to help you answer that. And you're going to do it. You are going to do the work. If you don't do the work, you're not going to get anything out of it. So, we got a workbook. We're going to go through it. We're going to start on that. And now's the best time ever to start doing this. Could be yesterday, could be tomorrow, right now. So you're going to start doing this stuff tonight.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So Todd said workbook. It's in the comments. It's in the chat. Make sure you've got it. First page, obviously is the cover. So you got the cover. All right, we're going to go past that. The second page is just kind of the intro, a little bit of a welcome. You can go past that. I want you to get into the third page here that says avatar details. All right. And I realized after this was all said and done that I didn't put page numbers at the bottom, so it's okay. Just look for the page that says avatar and details. It should be the third page in the workbook. All right. And as we're talking about this, I want you to start filling it out. So have a pen ready. Like I said, even if you don't have it printed out, just have a notepad or a blank piece of paper nearby that you can start filling this out. And here's the other deal. Some of you might have done this already before, especially the OSG members among us. We talk about this stuff regularly, but I encourage you to do it again. Go deeper, get more specific. The 5-night workshop is all a process and one thing leads to the next. So there's always value in doing this over again, right? In business, it's all about a cycle. So continue to do things over and over again and getting better each time. That's the name of the game. And, maybe last time you did this, you didn't have as much clarity. So maybe you'll get more clarity because you've had some feedback between now and then, or maybe your business has changed due to outside forces, right? Or you're just not as connected deeply as you should be with your ideal customer. So there's always value in this method. So let's start it off. Todd, actually, would you mind going through this? Honestly, we're just going to go through each one of them, but anything stands out to you to kind of add, go for it.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? We got to start by trying to figure out who our customer is, right? And this is what's going to help you. When you start looking at these categories, what is this? Well, you got to start picturing in your mind, who is your customer? Who are you going after? What are their age groups? What is their gender? Are they in a specific location? Are you going really local and you want here? Because that's what we're going to talk about, ways to do that. The ethnicity, is there somebody that, a certain group that you're going after? Language they speak. Maybe you're going after somebody who speaks Sanskrit. It's a dead language, but there's probably people that speak it. So if you're able to get after them, hey, that's it, right? Education level. We know that there's a huge education gap, from people who, didn't graduate high school to ones that are, multiple doctors across it. So who are you going after? Who is your perfect customer? Monthly income too. Hey, if I have a product that's $1,000 a month, am I really going to want to be messing with people who make less than $1,000 a month? Probably not. Why would I put my message in front of them? They can't afford what I want. But if I put it in front of the people that have over $100,000 monthly income, that's only 1% of their stuff. Of course, they can do it. So that's where that comes in. Home ownership. What are you selling? Is it something that pertains to that? Is it, is there a way to use that to your advantage? So you got to think about things like that. Marital status is a big one. Different people in different, marital statuses spend differently. Single mom is going to spend more or spend a different amount than a married mom. And that's not, talking down to one person or another. It's just the facts. That's what a lot of this is just facts. There's no bias to it. We're going after the customer, and this is what we need to do to define who our customer is. Anniversary. Well, why is it important? Well, if I have a product that I'm selling, say it's a gift that I can do, well, don't I want to know when their anniversary is? Is it in 30 days? Is it in, 30 to 61 days? Am I putting something out there? They're newly engaged. You can find all of this through your ads manager. That's what the big part of this is when you go through your ads managers across various platforms, it's going to have things like this in there. Hey, check this. So when you know what it is off the bat, it gets you through that stuff a lot faster. On parents, hey, if I'm focusing on kids things, am I gonna send stuff to parents with which ones? Are they preschoolers? Are they early age? Are they preteens? They have teenagers, kids out of the house? Which ones am I going after? When you can really focus down who you want to get to and get your message in front of, then you're spending the right money in the right place instead of just throwing it all out there and hope that somebody comes back in. So that's why it's very important to get into these details. How do I get in front of it? What do I need to do?
Yeah.
This is how you do it.
Yeah. And Todd, I know we said that we were going to do Q&A at the end, but I noticed a comment that I just want to cover this here real quick because I think this is important to hit. This doesn't seem to apply to us. We are B2B. Here's the deal, Lisa, and everybody else that might be thinking that and totally understand it. So we're not saying that, talking down to you in any way, shape, or form here. Everybody that's doing business, whether you're B2C, B2B, B to whatever, you're actually B2P, right? Or you're actually P2P. Person to person. Mm-hmm. Right? We have to understand who the people are on the other side of that B business and really kind of talk to them and solve their needs. Whether they're a business or not, they're still a person that's got a problem to solve. So we're going to get into a little bit deeper here in just a second, but this avatar stuff is just a great place to start because it gives us the area that we need to come to. We need to show up in first and foremost. So we can't pick what path we're going to use if we don't have some clarity on this stuff. If it is B2B, you could probably, you might kind of fly through some of this stuff. It might not be quite as important, but it's still very important, Todd.
Right. So. Because one of the things is at the end of it, there is a person making a decision. And who is that person that is making the decision? Yep. A lot of businesses that we deal with, that I personally deal with, are businesses that are single owner, maybe two owner, and so this is going through and finding that person gets me to the right people that I need to get in front of to put our ads there, to put it there. So that don't think that B2B doesn't count towards this because it really does. That's what we use. And like I said, I use this in our business, so it must work for me, right? So that's what we're helping you with.
Yep, exactly. All right. Well, let's add the persona here to it. And some of you guys may have seen this already. So again, I'm not going to go super deep into this, but this helps us understand why it's so important to go just beyond those into this persona details. It's the next section here. And as you kind of think about who this is, just type it into the chat real quick. And if you've already done this or you've already seen it, it's okay to cheat. It's fine. But here's the avatar details of this person. So tell me who you think this is. They were born in 1948, so it makes them 74 years old. They're a white male. They live in the United Kingdom, and 2 kids, married and divorced. So that's their marital status. They are extremely wealthy. They would be in that very top tax bracket, so to speak. And they own a castle. Who does that sound like to you guys? What person comes to mind when you think about who that person is with those avatar details? And I'm going to give it away because we're not here to waste time. But most people think it's this guy, which is absolutely true. That's Prince Charles, by the way. That fits him to a T. All of those things fit him to a T. But it also fits. There you go. Thank you, Sherry. Sherry says Prince Charles. There we go. So and so does Lisa. Thank you. Perfect, you guys. It also fits this guy, right? And if you don't know who that guy is, that's okay. You don't have to. That's Ozzy Osbourne. The Prince of Darkness, I believe, is what he used to go by, right? He is that exact same avatar. Born in the exact same year, white male, lives in the UK, 2 kids, married, divorced, has got a lot of money, and owns a castle, right? So we need to go a little bit deeper than this. So we need to get into this persona details. And Todd, I'm just going to dive through this stuff here pretty quick. Yeah. If you has Darren, Ozzy has 3 kids. Okay. All right. So we got the kids thing wrong, but we're close. He has at least 2 kids. We'll say that. Thank you, Darren. All right. So let's get into this persona detail, right? Again, what are their interests, right? So what are they into? We gave some examples here, but you can go into something deeper: sports, arts, education, all that other stuff. Politics, right? That might be an area, a way to kind of get them into a category where it's a little easier to find them, right? So if you're leaning more towards conservatives or liberals, or again, doesn't really matter. There's no right or wrong answer. Workplace, where are they found? what kinds of things. Again, we gave some examples in here, and then you can kind of throw in there some more specifics that you have. Where do they hang out, right? Where because it's good to know this, good to think about this, because okay, well, if they hang out at a coffee shop, then maybe I can kind of figure out a way to kind of in my way around into there, or museums or sporting events, right, or things like that. So and getting into that exact place where you might find them, where you might bump into them as somebody trying to sell something to them. Favorite music genres. Again, I'll just kind of get into things that are a little bit more detailed. The kinds of books they read will also help you pinpoint, where to be communicating with these folks. So that's a little bit on the higher end of the persona level. And then as you keep going, again, we're going to get down to kind of the events that they go to. Again, if we can kind of connect ourselves with some of these events or things that they do, then it might be easier to connect with them, the things that they buy outside of your products, right? So, could you be piggybacking on to the pet food stuff or things like that? TV shows the same way. People they follow, if there's influencers, maybe you can do some influencer marketing where you're giving that influencer some kickback to be able to get you some new leads and reach out to people. The apps that they're on, because that'll also help you understand where you need to be marketing. How can you connect in with those things? Then we get into where do they get their information from, right? So they may be somebody like that initial avatar. I'm not so sure that Prince Charles does do a lot of, social media or things like that. He's probably still reading a newspaper by chance or word of mouth, or you've got to talk to his people, right? So where do they get their information from? What are their core values? This is going to be important when we start connecting tomorrow. What are your core values? So don't put your core values on them, but then you got to start seeing, okay, you may not have the exact same core values, but is there some connection there? Is there a way that we can make that connection from one to the other? Causes that they're passionate about. Again, are you passionate about those things? Could you be supporting them, and that be a way to get in and make yourself known to them? How would they look for your products or services, right? Are they typically going to go out on Facebook and say, hey, where can I find this? Or are they going to, do a Google search? Put the Yellow Pages ad in there. There is still Yellow Pages out there, but not many people use them, so that's probably not going to be it. But who knows, right? We can't say this. Only you can figure this out for you and your customer and doing all that stuff. But getting as detailed in as you can about those things. So, Todd, that's really kind of the more of the high-level persona stuff. Anything that I left out before we move forward?
No, just one of the things, we touched on two of them, where they hang out, where they go, things like that. And people, when you're, like you said, can you get in there? Where that really comes into effect or comes into play at is when you get into your marketing side of things, the way that marketing works is I can target people that are going into a store. So if they're going into my competitor, I can set ads that when they go into that store, they'll see my ad. When they visit this place, they can see my ad. When they come down at this, they can see it. When they're in this area, they'll see it. So that's where a lot of that comes into. Where do they hang out at? If you know that your people hang out at Starbucks on 16th Street, well, then guess what? Can I direct target ads that when somebody's in that location that I'm going to see it? When they walk in that door, are they going to see it? Is there something that I can do? So that's where, some of these things may not make sense right now, but I guarantee by the time we're done with this at day 5, this is all going to make sense to you. And fill this out as much as you can. And if you're lost on some of the stuff, ask your people. If you've got a group of people now that you are pretty confident is in your right people, they're the ones you like working with and like to do, just post a question. Hey, where do you guys get your information at? Hey, what are your personal core values? One, it's going to create content. It's going to be engaging, but then you're going to get, some information back. So don't be afraid to do that. This is going to be the biggest thing is you can't be afraid to try something. The worst thing that can happen is fail. And even when you fail, when you're doing this type of stuff, you learn. You learn what didn't work. So not to do it again. There's plenty of information here. And there's a lot of this stuff that's going to be coming up over the next 5 days. Really dive into it. Take it serious. Put the pen to the paper and start making things happen with this.
Yep. Okay. Now, here's where we really are going to get into it a little bit. So I'm going to go take a little bit more time with these to make sure that we're kind of clear on this. So what are their biggest external challenges, right? And again, we put some examples in here that, we thought might be valuable based on a lot of the folks being garment decorators in here. Maybe they don't understand how do the artwork. So they they've got an idea and they need some help. Maybe they have a trouble standing out. So we talked about B2B earlier. That may be one of their external problems. They can't get above the noise, right? They need to have some branded merch or some things like that. They maybe if you're doing memorial gifts, they need that tactile memory to hold on to, those kinds of things, right? So what are those external challenges? What are the things that we might see them having challenges with? And then the other part is the internal challenge. And here's the deal. The internal and external challenges are linked together. These are completely tied together. What we normally see from the outside looking in is what their external challenges are. But if we put ourselves in their shoes, we really think about it from an empathetic side, what are the internal challenges, right? So maybe they don't know the artwork, and so they're just feeling overwhelmed, right? That they're finding all these people that have these blank, make your own design, personalize your product here, and they don't, that's overwhelming to them. They don't even know where to start, right? And so if you give them a template and just say, put your monogram in here or your last name at the bottom of the garden flag, if you're whatever that is, right? So that's the internal challenge. What's going on inside of them? What's the feeling? It's really what is the feeling associated with that external challenge? Because when people are out there searching for a solution to their problem, they're actually searching for a solution to their internal problem. The external problem is just what we see. And so no matter how kind of logical you think you are, every single decision that every single person made is based on an emotion. We're chemical beings. That's how we function. And even the most quote unquote logical people just basically take the logic and use it to manipulate their emotions, but they're still making an emotional decision. So what is that biggest internal challenge that they might have? Maybe if their trouble is standing out. So if you look at all the examples, the ones that we did in the external and the ones that we did in the internal could be connected, right? So they don't know the art. So they're feeling overwhelmed by how much, how they're going to get the artwork done to get the thing that they want. They're having trouble standing out. So they're worried about not getting enough business, right? They're worried about not being able to, have a good fourth quarter, right? They need that tactile memory. So they're fearful of forgetting the lost loved one, right? They want to identify with the community is the external challenge. Their internal challenge is they have a need for belonging. They don't belong to other groups. And so by having this connection with the community, we've all got the same shirt on, right? That solves that need for belonging, maintaining a focus on their core business, right? They're a content creator, yet they're trying to figure out how to be a shirt printer or a merch maker, and they really have no time or interest in doing that. So that's their feeling. Like, God, I'm just, I really could care less about making this shirt. I just want to make more content, or I want to do X, Y, and Z, right? So that lack of resources, the real internal challenge is that scarcity, right? They're going to be going without. They don't. They see that they want, I would use like maybe a smaller band as an example of lack of resources, right? They want to have the same cool black concert shirts that the big bands do, but they don't have the resources. So they're worried. Their fear is that they won't be able to connect with their audience, and they're going to have to go without, right? Or they need to offer things to more customers because they don't have that ability, right? So if you're doing some B2B stuff, Todd, you're a good example of this, right? Their fear might be that they're going to lose business because they can't do full color stuff, right? So those two sections right there are really important. And then the last two on this page kind of just round it out. They kind of complete the story. So, when you're thinking about like if you're talking to this person about your product, what would they go, I'm not so sure about that. Here's why I'm not thinking about this, right? Todd, remind me how you said you're either being sold or selling with something like that?
Every conversation is a sale. Either you're selling the customer on why they need a product, or they're selling you on why they don't need a product. So There is a sale in every conversation. You just have to decide who's making that sale. Yeah.
And that's what the objections are, right? They're selling you on why they don't need the product. So that's the objection. And then this is where you get to kind of go, okay, what does it look like? what are the successes that they've had with doing business with your company? What does that look like? What does that feel like for them after they bought your products or details? So getting into those specifics are really important. So like I said, my hope is that you guys have been kind of working on this as we're talking. And while you guys keep working on this, you're going to have to put up with my handwriting. Todd sent me the information and I wrote it in there. So put up with my handwriting. We're both left-handed, so neither of it's good. So Todd, you want to just kind of go through us here at kind of this granular level of yours?
Okay. Yeah, and before we get, I want you guys to realize something. At the end of the day, we are all our customers. Rob Van Winkle, we're all their vanilla ice. They have a problem. We're here to solve it. That's it, right? That is all it comes down to. We are here to be problem solvers for them. And the better you get at solving problems, the better you are. So with us looking at what we are doing with DTF transfer side of it, who is our customer? We're going through what our analytics tell us. And currently we're sitting at about 45% is 35 to 44. And then about 50% is 45 to 54. So 45 to 54 is good, even though they're real close. We're going to stay with that one. And gender is female. That's where most all of it comes from. Now, specific location is we're focusing on the Midwest. Why are we focusing on the Midwest? Shipping times. Shipping times 1-2 days. So if we focus on the Midwest, and with me being in Illinois, it's Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Missouri, Iowa, Kentucky, Indiana. That's what we're going to focus on when we get into this, because like you said, most everything is going to be there in 2 days for it. Now, educational level, this one was a toss up for us because there is a wide gamut of it in there. And so we're going to have to pay attention and see, if we choose one, how's it going to work? Is it going to work better than another one? Do we really need to look in our analytics? We got to watch the stuff. And that's all part of the marketing thing is you'll find your people where they're at. Now, our monthly income, we need to be in that 1,000 to 5,000. They need to have money to make money. So they need to be in that. Now, ones that are just starting off, they might have a little more disposable income. They might not have to. 1 to 5 is going to be a good spot for it. Now, home ownership, most of our people, what we found, are renters. And how you ask them, you go through and you start researching where are they at, what are they doing? They want to own a home, they want to get there, but there's something in the way of it. Whether right now the housing market being the way it is, not being able to have the money for the down payment, they're trying to get there. So most of the renters, and on that side, marital status, single. In fact, single moms, that seems to be a big part of our business. So that's who we would go after, is the single moms. No, that sounds creepy, but it's not. When you go through this, you find out where it is. We're not predatory. We're not that. We can see
that's who you can best help.
Yeah. And who has purchased from us and how to make that work, because those are the ones that we're going to get there.
Yep.
The anniversary with our product, it's not so much that.
Yep.
So, but if there was a product that we're doing, like we currently have, if we were to do a singular product, the month shirts are a great example of that. When it's the messy bun month shirt. So it's a birthday month. You just pick the birthday for that month, go through it. So that's where it really comes into.
Yep.
When it comes to parents, we have found that the early age children ones are our biggest buyers for things, because those are the ones that are just starting off. They're just starting in school. They're still in the little leagues. They're still, that thing where it's cool to have your mom wear, my favorite players on the field type thing. It makes them excited when they see their name on the back of stuff. So that's what we found, we're going after that. You start learning what this stuff is and start going from there.
Todd, and the other thing, you've said this already, but I wanted to make sure again we're clear that we're trying to pinpoint this down, and there really is a process to this, right? So as Todd was talking about, right, the age is there, the anniversary not really applicable. I think you're really kind of looking at parents, just parents in general. So maybe it would have been parents with preteens, parents with teenagers, maybe even parents with toddlers. So any of these parents really, right, could have been it. But you kind of want to get down to that really singular level. Then you can start kind of growing from there. And that's what we'll get into on day 5. We're going to take all this together. We're going to push it out there, because ultimately what we want to do is we want to get a summary of who this person is. So keep going here, Todd.
Okay. So then from here, what are our interests, right? Well, most of them are in sports, and that's how they got started in this. Single mom, didn't want to pay the crazy fees for the boring shirts that the clubs offered. So they made their own. And then another mom asked it about it, and another mom and another mom. Next thing you know, they're making stuff. they're tired of it. They're on this part of it. Youth sports, crafting, craft cutters, HCV, Cameo, Cricut. These are things that they're interested in because they're trying to do it. That's what they have found. So that's what to politics, moderate. A lot of them are. So that's where we're with it. And workplace caretaking. And what does that mean to me? It's taking care of those kids. Them kids need caretaking, right? And that's what it is that's what they're off. Nurses are a great example of that. Anybody in that more female dominated work area is where we have found our places to do.
Sorry, Todd, I just wanted to add something here, because the thing that also stood out as I was thinking through this with you, right, was that these are people that are caretakers by nature, but maybe things have gotten a little bit more challenging for them, right? I mean, being a nurse since 2000 has not been an easy gig. Right. And being in that caretaker role since that time has not been an easy gig. So again, these are people that are kind of fed up with what they got, but they're also kind of fed up with what's going on. So, now they're like that entrepreneurial spirit is hitting them a little bit. Right. So I just wanted that kind of stood out to me too.
Yep. Yeah. And then, we get into it, where do they hang out at? Coffee shops and schools, take the kids to school. They go to the coffee shop, hang out with the gals there, pick up their coffee every morning, pick up their mocha latte, frappa, whatever, they're at the coffee shop, and they're going to school. They're always in the school functions. They're the school mom, they're the room mom. They're there for, before school, after school, they're there for that. Now, where would I find these people? Target. Tell me I'm wrong. When I describe this person all the way through here, where was a place, if I say they shop at Target, would any one of you say, no, they don't? Absolutely. They do. Yeah. Reading through that, who they are, exactly where it is.
Totally. And Todd, about that too, because, and this is not to say this has no kind of bearing on what you think about Target versus Walmart versus whatever. So we'll use Target and Walmart here real quick, because you're going to talk to people that are shopping at Target differently than you would talk to people that are shopping at Walmart. Again, neither's better than the other one way or the other, but the truth of the matter is the way you kind of have that conversation is going to be different. So that's why we want to get down to that granular level. So again, sorry to keep interrupting. It'll happen. So don't worry about it.
So when it comes to music, most are either going to be, country pop country right in there. So Ed Sheeran, your Carrie Underwood, that's what they're going to listen to. Books that they read, self-help. They're trying to get better. If they had a bad divorce, they're wanting to get through that. They want to be a better parent. They want to get through that. They want to try and better their business. What are they doing? And so favorite books, Learn In, Rise Strong. There's a lot of things as you get through this, you are going to be able to see. You just need to really ask the questions. Find your people. Where are they? What are they doing? Where are they at? And you're going to go through that. So that gets, where do they go? For us, craft fairs. And why? Because we know that's what they do on the weekends. They're going to the craft fairs. They're going to the farmers markets. They're going to the art walks. They're going to things like that. They're community-based things, so that's where we're at. Things that they buy, kid products, they're going to see stuff for their kids because they want it. They want to try and make it. They want to try and replicate it. They want to try, and get that style of it. So that's what they're going to do. When it comes to favorite TV shows, this could be a toss-up too, but from a lot of on our B2B side, Shark Tank, that's what we found.
Sure.
You just start asking the questions. And then when it comes to, people they follow, are they following artists or athletes, celebrities, influencers, that's what we're seeing, Corinne Blackstone, she's one of our members here, she's growing left and right, leaps and bounds. And then your mid-modern mama, these are people that they follow. They want to be like them. They listen to what they have to say. So if you can get with those influencers, that definitely helps out. And then, the type of apps that they use most, social networking. And what we found through our people is Facebook. Facebook is where the most of that business comes from.
Okay.
Where are they getting their information from? Social media, and they're getting it from their Facebook groups, from their moms groups, their local groups, just about everywhere anymore. There is a neighborhood Facebook group. There is something like that, and it's full of fun, but that's where the moms hang out because, that's what happened with COVID. They didn't get to hang out. So they created groups and now they hang out there and say everything. So, the Facebook groups, now what about their personal core values? They all have integrity. They all have honesty. They all want accountability and have accountability. They know that they are the one that are in charge of everything and what needs to happen. They're all about quality and they're all about value. They want to give high quality stuff, but they want to provide value for it because that's a lot of things they've ran into with team stores. You want to charge me $30 for a t-shirt. I can do that better. And so that's how it came into it. So examples, truth and being authentic. They're not afraid to speak their mind, and they will tell you how they feel, and that's it. So
Yeah.
there's no problem with that.
Yep.
When it comes to social causes, gender equity, that's it. Super simple.
Yep.
How they look for our products, Google search, where to find DTF transfers. So hashtags DTF transfers, Instagram hashtags, the Google search, after the influencer shares. These are all things that they're gonna, how they look for a product and services.
Yep.
Their biggest challenges that we found, they don't know art. They don't know, hey, this needs to be a vector or this needs to be a PNG with a transparent background. They just don't understand. So, we got to help.
Yep.
The other thing is lack of resources. They know what they want to do, but they think that they have to buy all this equipment. They have to go buy the DTF printer. They have to go buy the white toner. They have to go buy the embroidery machine. They have to go buy that because they don't know about outsourcing and how it can be an integral part of their business and helping it grow. They don't know how to start. They want to do stuff, but they just don't know how to start. And there's so much information out there. It just becomes frustrating to them. And so they just stick to what they know, and they're layering 8 colors of vinyl, and they're spending 10 hours to make one shirt. And we just know that you can't make money with that, because what does that lead to? Feeling overwhelmed. That's the thing. They feel overwhelmed with it. They've been down that road. Well, why am I doing this? It's not even worth it. This used to be fun for me, and now it's not. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm just done. I want to throw in the towel because it's not what I wanted it to.
Yep.
That's that thing. We don't want that. We don't want that at all. We want to be able to help them. We're there to be the help that they can trust, right?
Yep.
And what objections do they have? How to use the product? What do I put it on? How does it go on this? What am I supposed to use for this? I just don't know. So it's up to us to better educate them so they know, yep, this is how you do it. And that's why, for us, that's where Tuesday with Todd comes in. We're live every week, and we show mess ups. We show how bad things go. Even testing out white toner today. Here's what happened when we try and do this. We show that it is not 100% all the time, and there's a testing that goes into it. And what does that do? It makes them feel, it's just not me. Okay, this makes sense. Yeah. So that's what we do, is we put that out there for them. And then, to them, what does success look like after buying our product? They're able to offer those full color garments on full color designs on multiple garments. They don't have to layer stuff. They don't have to, I'm sublimation. Now I'm trying to figure out how to put on dark garments, or now I want to put it on, hey, nope, we can solve that problem for you. And now you can offer those full color designs on any color and be fine with it. Yep. That's what we're going to do. We're going to be there for them and to help them grow their business for it.
Yep, exactly. Love it. Okay, Todd, perfect. And hopefully, like I said, that the point there for Todd to share all that was, like Todd said at the beginning, he's sitting in that participant side. Mm-hmm. So you guys have that sensation that like, okay, I see how this works, right? And you can see the process, right? And you can kind of see it in action. So hopefully you guys have been filling this in as you've been going, filling it in the workbook and just diving in. Keep doing that. While you do that, I want to talk to you guys a little bit about the summary part that we're going to that's going to be the kind of homework for tonight. And so when we talk about the summary, what we're really talking about here is what a lot of people might call the hero's journey, right? And a lot of times in our business, we think that we're the hero, right? And yes, in your business, to you are the hero, but to your customers, you're not the hero. Sorry to tell you this, you're not the hero. Your customer is the hero. Whenever we talk about our message, whether it be the elevator pitch or our marketing message, or the tendency is we want to kind of be that hero, right? We go, we got to be confident. Well, being confident doesn't mean that you have to be the hero. In fact, being confident means that you're okay allowing somebody else to have that spotlight. They're the ones that are going to save the day because the story is about them and what problems they're trying to solve, right? But a good story follows a very specific arc, and when the customer's the hero, you are the wise guide that helps them, right? You're the Yoda or the Obi-Wan if you're a Star Wars fan, right? You're that guide that's there to support them. And so what we need to do is we need to kind of summarize all this information that we've put together. We need to kind of try to summarize that down to what's considered a kind of the hero's journey here. So the first, and this is really simplified down. If you really go deep into the hero's journey, there's a whole bunch of points along the way. But you can get a very good marketing message. If you're trying to write a best-selling screenplay, you may want to go a little deeper in this. If you're trying to market your product, this is what you need. Okay, it's been proven over and over again by company after company. But the character is the first thing. And again, the character is your customer. It's not you. And getting some specifics about who they are, right? If they're a business, are they a small business or a large business? Maybe a stay-at-home mom, are they a single parent, a nonprofit, right? Just some kind of specific indicator as to who they are, as a, so to describe them as a character. But also important in this section about the character is to kind of also give some indication of the state that they're in, that then leads them to be searching you out. Right, they're overwhelmed. We'll show you some examples of this. So that's the first part, is that character part. And then the second part of the story is then, okay, you've got that character, you kind of know what state that they're in, and because of the fact that they're in that state, and maybe it's because of this problem or vice versa, that doesn't matter, but we need to throw some risk into the mix here. We need to kind of define what's plaguing them more specifically that will get them attracted to your message, right? We're not trying to peddle fear here. That's not what this is all about. What we're saying is, at the end of the day, as a business, your job is to solve a problem for someone else. Otherwise, they do it themselves, right? So this is the internal problem that they're facing. This is how they feel about that internal problem, not eternal, internal problem. So that's the second part of the hero's journey. That's the second part of your summary that you're going to work on here. And then the third part is, what's the plan? This is the plan of how you're going to guide them to get from the problem to the success, right? These are the steps. You need to kind of share that you've got empathy about the problem, that, maybe you've been there or you understand. You also can go at this from speak from a place of authority, where we've helped people in the past get from the problem to the success, right? So this is really kind of starting to change the story. So if you think about a hero's journey, it's kind of like an arc, right? They start here, they've got the problem, it gets to the point where they face the enemy, they figure out the plan, right? That's all at the top of the arc. And then once they have that plan, they put that plan into motion, then they start heading down the other end to where they get to success. Right, so that's the fourth part, is the success. And this is really just a quick description of what their life could be like after they do business with you. And I know this sounds kind of big and heavy, like what could their life be like, right? They've saved the world. No, as we mentioned, your job as a business is to solve a problem, no matter how big or small you might feel about it. To your customer, it is a pressing problem in that moment. Otherwise, they wouldn't be coming to you. Like we said, otherwise they'd figure it out themselves, or it wouldn't be a problem. So show them the steps, or articulate how easy it is to do business with you, and then what that is going to look like. So let me give you an example of how this looks like for our success group. And then Todd, you can kind of share how you created this hero's journey for what you're doing with your specific, again, Todd's got this down to very granular. So, this is about this particular customer. But here's our success group's kind of hero's journey, right? So the character, we got new small business owners who are seeing the need for support, right? So kind of they're at that point where they're seeing that need for support, right? And so this is kind of helps us describe that it's not people that are just brand new starting out. They don't see the need for it yet, right? They haven't banged their head against the wall long enough that it hurts yet. So we're looking for those people that have banged their head against the wall long enough that they're tired of the headache, right? They're tired of the problem, which is they're tired of wasting money on shiny objects and feeling overwhelmed, not knowing if their business is going to make it, right? So then we share what our plan is. Our plan, our passion, is to encourage a counterintuitive approach to foundation building, right? Going back to the basics and strategic planning and mindset alignment. That's what our success group's all about. That's what we talked about at the beginning. And then the success that they'll see is, it's so rewarding that we get to hear these stories of the success being increased profit and fulfilled lives. So that's going to be what we ask you to do kind of homework wise. Todd's already done this. So Todd, and I know we kind of work together a little bit on this as you're building, so we can talk about this together, but I'll just let you kind of run, and then you, does that sound like a plan?
Yeah. Let's go. Let's bring it up.
Okay. All right. So here you go.
Yeah. So here's ours, business owners who are in the garment space, transitioning from a hobby to business and not knowing how to provide full color, right? Does that make sense? That's what they are.
Yeah.
They want to be able to offer it. That's who they are.
And they
Problem
don't
is
know,
they
right?
can't
That's
afford the
their
equipment, and they
yeah.
don't have the time to weed or learn that new process. There's just not enough time in the day for them to do this. Remember, we're going for single moms. They've got kids. They've got everything. They don't have the time for this. They're not going to buy equipment when their kid needs new soccer cleats. So that's the problem, right? And the plan is we're working closely with them from art to that finished product to provide them their full color solutions. Hey, the art isn't good. You know how many times I've heard from people that they've got bad transfers because they've ordered it, sent it in, art was bag, and they didn't know? We look at that beforehand. Hey, there's an issue with this. Let's see what we can do. Because we want to show them, we want to have that plan for them. We want them to have the best finished product possible. And the success is they're going to open up a whole new range of creativity and confidence to work with their new customers. Why? Because they can offer products they couldn't before. So now they can spend more time focusing on their business instead of trying to get this process down that they couldn't do before. So there's our summary. That's what we got going on.
Nice. Okay. All right, cool. So, just want to make sure we didn't. Okay, good. Somebody said that we lost video, and I just want to make sure it looked okay on our end, but we're good. Okay. Thank you guys for the follow up there. All right. So Todd, that summary is great. I think you nailed it. And like I said, we kind of worked a little bit together. I kind of tweaked a little bit what you had shared, but I think, got the point across. So awesome. All right. Well, let's, and guys, just, again, we added a little bit at the beginning just to make sure this is right where we want to be. We want to be done right in this kind of hour because we want you to spend some time completing the homework and getting into this. So we're going to go a little bit longer today, but the rest of the week should be just about where we're at right now here at about an hour in. So let's wrap this up, nice tidy little bow, and then we'll open up to all the questions and getting that going. So ideal customer, right? Let's kind of put this bow on it. Our goal here is to make sure that you have a clear picture, as clear of a picture as you can about who they are. So as you're doing the quote unquote marketing, right, you're sharing what your company does, you can easily speak directly to them. Mm-hmm. And this is why you'll see that summary part at the bottom. If you go down below those 4 things we just talked about, there's actually a place to name them. I didn't share Todd's name, but he told me the name is Stacy.
Stacy.
Right?
Her mom's got it going on, man.
Stacy's mom. There you go. So, and I love that you actually tied that to that, Todd. That's great because I'll tell a quick story. My mom told me and my brother that when she was deciding what our names were, the way she figured it out is she got all the names that she wanted to potentially use. And she went, and at the time, you would go out on the back porch and call the kids in for dinner. So she went out and she yelled the names out, and whichever one kind of stuck, right? Because she wanted to have that visual of what the kid was going to be like. And so that name really helps, right? So that's how my brother and I got our names. My mom was yelling out, and for whatever reason, Aaron Freeman Montgomery was what, or like when that kid's in trouble, right? Aaron Freeman Montgomery. So anyhow, the name, that association is really important because we have to be able to communicate clearly. And rhetorical question here, but can you clearly communicate and try to solve thousands of people's problems all at once? The answer is no, right? They will be confused, but here's the deal. When you talk to one person clearly, you will come to discover very quickly that there are actually hundreds, if not thousands of people that have a very similar problem, that are just like them looking for that same solution. And because you've made that solution so clear because you're talking to one person, right? This is where we get back to that piece earlier. We talked about quality over quantity. Right. So that's the ideal customer. And that's why we want to get down to this granular level. And like we said, this will all progress. So stick with us as we get to the 5th day. We'll see how we can now then expand that. Right. We use this. We start from here and then we go. Todd talked a little bit about, doing ads and how this could play into that kind of thing. But just even just doing like word of mouth campaigns and things like that. When we have this information, it becomes so much easier. Then we can get into the quote unquote trial and error phase, which is really just kind of, let's make a very educated play and then use the information that we have to get a little bit better each day. And then we're going to grow. So that's what the ideal customer is. Here is your action item for night 1 here is to go in on that page where we kind of finish the persona and you're going to finish that summary. You're going to complete the summary of your ideal customer. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. Sorry, I just got a bug in my eye. That was weird. No right or wrong answer. You got to include the name, right? So dive in, because here's the deal. We want you to bring this stuff back. We want you to share. We'll give you feedback. Again, if we give you feedback, it doesn't mean you did it wrong. It's just we want to give you different perspectives, a different kind of place to be. All right. Great. We've got some, and again, start putting those questions in now. We'll come back to those. All right. And then don't talk about it, be about it, right? Are you an action taker? And that's really what this boils down to, Todd. The reason why we wanted to make this a workshop format and do this the way that we're doing it is we know that you guys have to get into action for this to really kind of be of real value to you. So, Todd, anything on that before we kind of get to the...
It's not osmosis. Is that what it is? It's not osmosis. You actually have to do something.
Yeah,
right?
That's right.
You actually have to do something.
Yeah.
And that's, I've kind of taken that stance, over the last couple of months of our trainings and stuff, where it's like, hey, if you're not going to do this, then don't show up. Like, don't waste your time. Your time is valuable. If you're not going to do it, don't. But I'm telling you, you need to do it. You need to do this because it's going to better your business. Now is the time. There's not a better time to start than now. And this is something that will help you, just not for these next 12 weeks. It's going to help you for the rest of your business, for the rest of your business life, because these are things that you can use throughout the year. And I'm going to stress, you just got to do the work. Do the work.
Yeah, totally. All right. We've got some great questions coming in already, Todd. So let's, if you just happen to be listening to the recording, or maybe you come up with something later on, again, anytime, success@oursuccessgroup.com. You just email us anytime. So secret to success is for action takers. I think we're going to hit that home pretty hard as we go throughout this. If you are an OSG Squad member or you've signed up for the VIP, make sure that you mark your calendar. This is going to be a Zoom call where we really get into the details, more so than we can do in comments and some emails and stuff like that. So, and so this will be a great perspective. If you are not a VIP and you'd like to become one, you're going to get, if you check your emails, there's always an option to do that. We don't charge extra and make it tough, or we're not trying to screw anybody over. If you want to do it, you can add it on at any time. All right, Todd, I'm going to pop this up real quick because again, we talked about volley if you want to get into the conversation, but we won't talk about it. Let's hit some questions here. You ready for that?
Yeah. Let's go.
I'm gonna go back a little ways. There's some great questions coming in right now, and we're gonna get to all those. So keep those in mind. But I want to go back a little bit because Darren had made a comment. I'm not sure how much of a question it is, but maybe we can provide a little insight. So Darren says, the gal that I've worked side by side with for the last couple of years has become more like a customer and one I don't like doing business with. It makes it very hard to get things accomplished. Do you have any feedback on that one, Todd? I might have a couple things I can share.
The easiest thing, price your stuff higher, right? Price it so it makes it worth working with her. I mean, that's the thing. You can, if there's customers that you don't want to work with, but they continually buy from you, that's a good thing because they like your work. They want to continue, but you can price yourself out of them. They'll get to a point where either one, it's going to be like, okay, I don't mind putting up with this because I'm getting paid for it. Or two, the price is too high and they're going to go somewhere else. So then they're not a customer anymore. So it wasn't a bad feeling with anything. It was just, that's the easy way to do it. Raise your price to them. I've done that a few times and I have not been, upset about it at all. Hey, I'm making the money to go ahead and make this. It made me happy to do it. And other times they left and that made me happy too. So I think that's a good solution for my end.
I like it. And then I think I'll add on that, Darren, is unfortunately there's not oh, this is super easy. You may have to have that a little bit of a challenging conversation there, I think is probably what's going to take a little bit too. But if you don't have it defined what your ideal customer is and why, right? If you haven't done this, that conversation is really hard because really all you're doing is attacking her and saying that you don't like her. But if you're saying this is the person that I can do business with the best, and then, she can kind of go, oh, well, that's not really me. This isn't working out. Start getting clarity inside of that. It makes those conversations a little bit easier. So hopefully that helps a little bit. Lisa, we talked about this. Hopefully that also helped when we talked about applying. In fact, while we were talking about that, Brian came in with this comment, which I think is a great one. Thank you, Brian. People do business with people. People who make more money think differently than people who make less. So like that. Okay. And then Dean shared, this is just a comment that Dean shared, but I think it's worth sharing. You need to know your market. A 2,500 acre ranch in some states may be huge, but in Texas, that could be small, right? So yeah, that's a really good point. So, okay. So let's see here. All right, here we go. So Michelle says, finding my ideal customer has always been a struggle. She likes this outline for us. I have multiple items circled under each one. Should I narrow it down to just one under each? So Todd, I'm gonna jump in there real quick first.
Yep.
And then let you
go for it. You got this one, man.
Yeah. And I'm sure you'll add great stuff on top of this. But here's what I would do, Michelle. When Todd and I first started talking about it, and you saw throughout his examples, he had multiples. What we're really trying to do is we're trying to get down to a point where we're having a conversation with one person. That's the ideal thing. So yes, they might fall in some different categories potentially, right? This is where it's really hard. So I would like, if you were trying to describe me exactly, you wouldn't have multiple circles. Right. I can only be 48 years old. Unfortunately, as much as I'd like to be in that 20 to 25 category or whatever that is, I can only be 48 years old. And here's the deal. Just because you're talking to somebody that's 48 years old and as a white guy, that doesn't necessarily mean that that's who's going to automatically connect with you. It's just, this is about getting it defined down to a point where we can easily have that one-on-one conversation, because once we start having that one-on-one conversation, then it's really clear what problem we solve. So hopefully that helps a little bit. And then Todd, I know you talked a little bit about how this will expand as we kind of get into that phase of the implementing and evaluating, but what other thoughts do you have on that?
It's easier to talk to a single person to stand on a corner and yell at traffic as it goes by. Right? I mean,
Yep.
When you can have that conversation with that singular person, you have a better chance of closing the sale than you do cars whizzing by. Buy my stuff. Hey, buy my stuff. Hey, no, they're just driving by. They're not even paying attention to you. So you're wasting your breath. So we can narrow it down to that singular person. Then it makes it a lot easier because, like Aaron said, that singular person, there's multiples of that singular person spread throughout. So when you find it, then that's where it hits at. You're connecting with them on a different level. And so being able to have that really makes sense. And it's something that is difficult to do. It's not just an easy thing. You really have to put some thought into it. But the more time you spend now putting thought into it, the easier it is on the back end. One, it's easier to find people. Two, it's easier to track. Okay, does something change? Maybe who I think I need to go after based on the information I have really isn't it. But I can go back and look and see, hey, maybe this category isn't right. Maybe I need to go to this one.
Yeah.
Or maybe I need to go to that. But if I just don't pick anything, then where do you start at? So it's a great starting point when you can get down super small to then be able to check the results and then expand from there or make changes.
Yeah. Yeah. And I love your analogy about the cars whizzing by. I think that's a great point, because here's the other thing that's going to happen. If you're talking to that one person and they stop, that car whizzing by is going to go, oh, I may need to stop too, right? And then it kind of expands from there. So that's one thing. And then the other thing that you had said in that, Todd, like there is the work to be done here. And here's the other reason why I think it's so important to kind of do this in a community like this, and why I believe that our implementation call next Wednesday is going to be so valuable. Because like, for example, Todd, you were sending me this information today, right? And not that you couldn't do it, right? But I gave you some feedback, right? Mm-hmm. And the same thing would happen. Like when I do it for my side of things, it's not because I'm great and I know exactly what I'm doing, right? I've learned this, but you guys know this too. So to be able to have that opportunity to have feedback, get a different perspective, that also really helps us. So, again, there is no wrong answers here. So, we found some things where, there is not a real right answer, right? The anniversary doesn't necessarily matter in Todd's particular case right now. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that it's going to not work because we didn't get that granular. Right. These are just some ideas to try to get down. Ultimately, we just want to have the conversation with one person and talk to them about what matters to them. So hopefully that helps. Randy says, great reminder, and I've heard it so many times. Our job is to solve a problem for our clients. That message really hit me. Thank you. You're very welcome, Randy. And Jerry says, if we solve Stacy's problem, will she become an influencer for others like her? And
absolutely.
Yes.
And that's where it really starts to work, because how many times have we worked with somebody and they've referred us to somebody else because, hey, they've done really good work, they helped me out with this, they came through this and this because of what we've done for them. And so
Yeah.
then those people come to us, and we didn't have to go searching for them, right? They
Yeah.
came to us through somebody else. So yes, when you can find your singular person and you can make them happy, yeah, they become that cheerleader for you. That's why creating those raving fans that will listen to you and do pretty much anything you need them to do for you, they're willing to do. And on our end, when we can help out a business and help them grow, of course, most of those are in those mom groups that are talking to other people. And hey, yeah, they helped us, they could help you too.
Yeah.
That's where
Exactly.
it comes in at.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's such a great point. And here's the deal, guys. The most out of all the marketing strategies out there, the highest converting and the least expensive is word of mouth. Right? It's that influencer, it's that word of mouth, and in today's world, in social media land, everybody's an influencer. Some people carry more weight than others with what they say, and quote unquote are what people consider an influencer. But everybody that shares, hey, it was so great doing business with Todd, or they're in the group and somebody's like, oh, what about this? And they go, oh, well, Todd does that, right? That's Stacy influencing other people.
Yep.
Right. And that's what that is. So I love that. Okay. Really great questions, you guys. Keep them coming here. Tanya says, we do several different things. Is this ideal customer overall or for a portion of the business? Todd to DTF rather than business overall. So
Absolutely.
Todd, you want to jump on that first? Yeah.
Singular product. I think singular product is so much easier to do because you know who that product is going for. And a lot of our business, we have multiple things, right? So one thing may not be good for this group. This one may not be good for that. So I can't market it to that. When we're looking at the singular items to do, like Tanya, on your side, Greasy Bee Doodle Designs, are you going to try and market that to another business? No. But on your screen printing side, on a bulk deal, what are you going to? Are you going to do that to a digital designer? Are you going to do that to somebody looking for designs? Or are you going to do that to somebody looking for shirts?
Yeah.
So see, that's where it comes down to that single part. And you can have a bunch of different audiences or a bunch of different products.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be this big, hey, I need, this is the only customer I work with. No. What is the product I want to sell, and who is the right product, or who's the right person for that product? So that's the way that we've done it. We know who this is going to be for, how we can do it, and what can we do from there. Because there might be some other stuff that leads into, like, we don't push our shirts that we do, locally for B2B out there, but we have a couple customers that are, states away, where they call us up and be like, hey, we need shirts, and we go ahead and do them for them. Why? Because they found it through us doing something else for them, that it was just, hey, we can just have you do it for us. Okay, good. And so they come into that other part of our business. But for singular product, single group, it just makes it easier for us.
Yeah. And here's the other part. So what our hope is as you do this, right? It's going to get easier the more you do this. B, we want this to kind of become a muscle for you, so to speak. This kind of, so in a 12-week sprint that we're kind of going to be looking at here, it is going to be hard to focus on too many things, right? If you're trying to be 8 things over the course of 12 weeks, that's going to be hard to get real clear about, right? Now, if you've been doing this for a little bit, you've got a lot of clarity about all these things, then yeah, you can probably get to that. Maybe it's, I've got to focus on this. The whole point is start with one thing and then let's expand from there. You may go through, again, knowing Tanya as we do, right? She's got those different areas. So you may have to print this workbook out a couple times and be focusing in on that. The whole point is getting to that place where you're having the conversation with one singular person, and then expanding, and then it'll allow you to expand from there. So that's awesome. Yeah. Go ahead, Todd.
Yeah, well, I was going to answer Reese here because it was kind of going right on the same. So here's, when we were looking at stuff, and especially when we're starting out with this whole marketing thing, what do we do? How do we go around it? So if I have to narrow down to my product that I'm going to market, do not market something that you don't like doing, takes forever, makes you little money. Don't market those things, because what's going to happen? That's what you're going to sell. You're going to sell things you don't like doing. You're going to sell things that take forever. You're going to sell things that don't make a lot of money. So sell something, market something that, one, is easy to do. You know how to do it. You're very well at it, very efficient at it. that you have good profit margin with, because that way, hey, you can now reinvest the money back into that, more ads, and it's like turning on that faucet. And it's something that you enjoy doing.
Yep.
That's the thing, is when you can do that, you can pick out that product for that, it makes it a lot easier. For me on transfers, if I get people in that art thing where, I would say a good 75% of our art is ready to go when it comes from the customer. So they upload it, it's ready to go. All they have to do is print. So there's not a whole lot into it. That 25% takes up a huge amount of time making sure it's all right, but it's offset by that 75. And if I take in the beginning, the hour, two, whatever it is, to help somebody understand how to do the artwork, what needs to happen, why, if we do it this way versus this way, what happens? That 25 starts going down, the 75 goes up. And then it's just a matter of them uploading, and then we get stuff back. And it just makes it easier. So spend that time doing that. We enjoy doing that. We enjoy helping them out with that. So when you can singular product that you can make money at, make good money at, make it efficient, then it just makes it easier because you're happy doing it, right? So
Sure.
that would be my suggestion on when, what do I do? Find that singular product that makes you a lot of money, that is easy to do, and that you like doing, and then things will happen that way.
Yeah. And I brought sorry, you guys probably heard all the clicking I was doing. I was trying to get back to the slide here, but I brought this up because this is what we're talking about here. Here's the other thing that, as you were talking about that, Todd, that came to my mind is we're trying to have a conversation with one person. That doesn't mean that we're only trying to sell one product necessarily, right? So maybe that person is somebody that would be interested in multiple things that you do. So we don't have to limit ourselves by the products that we do, but yes, we should get some real clarity on these things. Like Todd talked about, it needs to be something that you love doing, like people you love doing business with. So therefore you love doing that thing. The connections to your mission's value. We're going to talk about that more tomorrow. Todd mentioned this, profitability, right? Very important to these things. So getting this down, ultimately the goal here, the only goal is that we're having a singular conversation, and then we can start opening it up from there, maybe doing a little bit more, getting feedback. And the reason we got down so granular, again, somebody like Tanya maybe would, I'm just using Tanya as an example because she was in here talking, is she may go through this again, and go a whole different, because she's got a couple different kinds of companies that she's got to kind of be. But Todd, you've talked about this many times. It's your focus circle, right? How much can you focus on? So think about this. You got 12 weeks. You want to maximize your effort over the next 12 weeks. How much can you really focus on? And so which of those things are the most profitable? Which are the things that you really need to focus on? And then maybe in the first quarter, you do the next thing. Or maybe, you can do 2 in the fourth quarter, and then you do 2 in the first quarter, and kind of going like that. So that makes sense, Todd?
Yeah. Like I said, focus on, anytime you try and keep adding more, well, I'm going to focus on this and that, you can't. There's just not enough in it. The people that do have teams members in place to do that for them. Somebody's handling this side, somebody's handling that side. You got to think, as we go through this marketing thing, you've got a lot of things to do. And if you got one product, then that's the easy thing to focus on, just that one product. If there's multiple things, well, now let's say, hey, our goal is to post 5 pieces of content related to this. Well, if I'm posting 3 products, now I've got 15. So I've got 3 times the work to do, right? Yeah. So that's where that singular product, you start with the singular one. And then when you feel comfortable with that and how it's working, and understand how to read your analytics, know what's going on and how things are coming in, how things are going out, then you can go ahead and add it to it. But that's where a lot of people fail on the marketing side of it is, I just throw money on it. I don't know who my customer is. I'm promoting everything I have, and nobody's buying anything. Well, wait a minute. What are you trying to promote to them? Yes, we print stuff. Here's this. Buy our stuff. I don't know. That I'm so overwhelmed. I'm so everything. I just don't know. That's why, because you're giving them too much. You're feeding them with the fire hose when you should just have them the sippy cup, and that's what we got to do. We're here to give them that sippy cup of information to help them then make an informed decision. And sometimes that informed decision isn't always us. And we have won tons of business back on that when we're like, you know what, this might not be the best job for us and for you. Here's somebody who I think we may be able to help you. And the look on people's face when you tell them, hey, wait, we're trying to give you money, but to go somewhere else. Yeah. And here's why, because I know they can do a lot better than what we could at this, because that is what they are good at. You know what happens? A lot of times we get them to come back for other stuff because we're so honest with them in that. We want them to have the best possible product. And if there's times we can't do that, or we don't have somebody that can do it for us, then we can pass them through to, then we're going to find the one that's best for them. And
Yeah.
customers appreciate that. There's not dumb customers. There's smart ones out there. And, if you try and pull some shady stuff on them, they're going to call you out on it.
Yeah, I love it. Okay, this is a great question, Glenda. Thank you for asking this. She says, I haven't sold enough to know what quote unquote problem I would be solving for my customers. I don't sell, offer a service. Now, Todd, I'm going to jump in unless you really
go and then I'll follow
okay.
up.
All right, you follow up. So here's where I'd start, Glenda. First and foremost, even if you've never sold a single thing, you can still do this. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's it. I know we've talked about a little bit about okay, you've done business. Doesn't matter. If you're brand new and this is your first time ever selling anything to anybody, it all ties back to you have to put yourself in somebody else's shoes. So here's the way I would look at it. Why did you start this thing to begin with, right? Why did you become a business? What was it that happened that made you decide, okay, I'm going to become a business with this, right? Because that's ultimately why, right? That's the why part. And that why really kind of tells us what the problem is that we're solving, and so from there, then you can kind of go, okay, I started this because, I'll try to come up with a quick example here. I started this, Todd, you're a fantastic example of this. You started your business because you couldn't get shirts reasonably for your kid's birthday, right? Does that sound about right?
Yep.
I mean, you were kind of doing some vinyl and some other things, but you started getting into the garment side because you couldn't find that, right? And so the problem that Todd solves for customers, even now to this day, is the exact problem that he had when he started that, right? He helps people become less overwhelmed. He works with them. He helps them understand all the things and then provides them a quality product at a quality price with a reasonable turnaround time. So even before Todd started his business, he had that problem in mind that he was going to be solving. Does that make sense?
Yep. That's exactly what it was, where you figure out, the problem. You're the problem solver. And sometimes you look at it where I think, okay, that's the problem and I can solve it by doing this. And then going through the process, it might not work that way, Yep. So that's where the process and systems will help you, grow your business and be successful.
Yeah. So Glenn, don't, just because you feel like you're not there and you don't have that, keep going, right? Keep doing. There is no wrong answers. Start with that why. Put it in here. You could go ahead and put it in the comments. You and I had actually sent some messages back and forth with each other, so put it in there, whatever. This is not a hurdle that you can't overcome. This is not a place to stop, okay? So that's really important to me that you know that. And anybody, right? That's the whole point here, guys, is we're building this together. Todd and I are trying to be your guides here right now, right? You guys are the hero of the story. You guys went through all that, right? And so it all works the same thing. It's all the same cycle. So, all right, let's get Dean's here. He just said Facebook may say white 45-year-old mostly looks at my ad, but I close 90% of 40-year-old white female. So that's also a really good point, Dean. It's not necessarily about who's looking, right? Ultimately, at the end of the day, the goal is to make a sale and to make a profit. So maybe you do get, I know, for example, with the Two Regular Guys podcast, right? We have a very certain demographic, but the people that end up becoming customers of our success group are very different than that demographic. So we have to focus on that. So, Todd, anything else on that?
The great thing about that is, how does Dean know this? From the analytics, right? As we get into this, you're going to be able to start reading stuff and understanding stuff and see the patterns, to see what happens. And you can make those informed decisions. Hey, Facebook may say this, but this is what I'm seeing in the real world. So if I switch this, what happens? And that's something else that, is going to be key later on, is when something isn't going right, do not switch everything. One thing at a time. Just switch something, one thing, see what happens. Because if you switch it all, you don't know what worked. When you just switch one thing, then it's something that you can track and monitor. Yep.
Okay, Michelle says, I like the idea of doing one customer embroidery and one for the vinyl side.
Stacy and Casey. There you
go. Stacy and Casey. Okay, Chuck and Tanya, awesome. You guys in there. Talk about that. Reese says, so I'm thinking products that make good Christmas decor for the fourth quarter. And that's a great point, right? And the other thing to think about here is, what is it that we're actually talking about marketing for the fourth quarter right now. So maybe that's what it is. Now, if you're doing this in the first quarter, that might change a little bit, right? It is a cycle. And so that's a really big, that's a good point, Ree. So,
yeah.
All right. What are the questions you guys have? Again, our goal is to keep the training part to about 45 minutes to an hour. We knew we were going to have a little extra tonight with some of the introduction stuff and really wanted to get you guys into action and just pumped up, right? I mean, that's the real point here. You know, we've got 4 more nights of this. And so tomorrow night we will be taking what we worked on here tonight, and we're going to be turning that kind of mirror, so to speak, back on ourselves and looking at ourselves from this vantage point, because with the information we have tonight, plus the information from tomorrow night, that's going to help us really pin down what's going to give us the most bang for our buck. And that's night 3 where we pick our path. So, anything else on that, Todd, that, before?
Do the work, man. That's the thing. You know, you're only going to get out as much of this as you put into it, right? So if you're not putting anything into it, don't expect anything out of it. And that's on you. At the end of the day, anything that happens is your fault, right? 100% responsibility.
100% responsibility. Yep.
You know, it's your fault. If something goes good, it's your fault.
We talk about it a little different than that, but yes.
I just lay it out there like
I
this.
know you do.
You know? And that's
You
have to be able to do it, right? You have to take 100% responsibility for it. Something doesn't work. What did I do to make it not work? What did I do not change it? What can I do to make things better? How can I fix it? I have to take responsibility for my business. Nobody else, you know? Somebody could give me the best of everything, but if I don't follow through with it, it's no good. So follow through, do the work. Good things will happen.
Yep. All right. Jerry's got a good question here. I want to just share something real quick. Where is it? There it is. Is that it? Yep. Okay. So you guys should have all gotten this page. This is, I got to find where the heck I did with it on my screen there. Buried. Okay. So this, it's not going to show you that part. So this is our success. So this is the thank you page. This is the link. I will put this link in the chat here, and so keep this link handy. There are going to be emails. Emails, you know, you got to look for them. You got to maybe dig into your spam. We do everything we can to stay out of spam, but that's just the way emails work these days. So you got to look for them. But make sure you've got this page, and if you scroll down a little bit, as soon as we get done recording here, you can go right back to this spot here, define your customer, and you can push play. Right, so it's available to review tomorrow. It's available to review in 5 minutes. So go back, replay, and then tomorrow we will be over here on the next one to the right. So define your brand. Look at the date, September 6th. If you're looking at this on your phone, it's going to look a little bit different. So just make sure. We always suggest trying to come from your computer if you can, because then you're able to kind of do more of the work. But I get it, right? Sometimes we got to do that. So I guess just to answer Jerry's question, is this available to review tomorrow? 100% it's available to review as soon as we're done here.
Yep.
Okay. All right, you guys. So, and then I guess on this page, one last thing. If you do, for whatever reason, lose the workbook, it's still right there. You can always reach out to us. This is on our page, so you can contact us here. You got all that you need right here. So don't worry about it. We're not going to leave you hanging. We're here to support you and do our best to do everything we can to help you be successful. So the rest of it, let's just take a deep breath, move forward, keep doing the work, take an action.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for showing up tonight. I love this. I love each and every one of you action takers. This is something, you know, that just, we kind of not necessarily threw this together, Aaron, it was because we've done this for a couple of years, but we tried a different format, and you just the excitement I felt with you when I said it, it was like, this is just about it. And why is that? Businesses evolve, things change. You got to, you know, look at where you are, where you're going, what you want to do. And this is a big part of it. Why we're able to do this, you know, year after year, we can still go back to those chords. That, okay, who are people? What are we trying to do? Where are we at with it? And so we can tweak that product. So here's the product. Here's what we're doing with it. And I tell you guys are going to have a successful fourth quarter if you just follow the steps. You know, super simple.
Just keep doing the work. Yep, we're going to be here to support you. Okay, you guys. I think that's it for tonight. Again, we will see you back here tomorrow night, same time. It's 7 o'clock Central Time, 8 o'clock Eastern Time, right? Wherever you fall in there. Again, if you need anything between now and then, reach out to us. And Glenna says, is there a preamble to this class? that's a tough one. I mean, the why. Yeah, let me. I'm going to reach out to you directly, Glenna. There's not necessarily a preamble. We've covered a lot of different things inside the OSG membership that maybe we could point you to, but really just finding your why. I've got a little white paper that I can share with you. So if anybody else that needs help too, though, I'm not just obviously happy to help Glenna and anybody else that wants to reach out directly or indirectly or whatever, right? So
Aaron, I could be mistaken here, but on that page that you had posted where it had the videos, at the bottom there was a resources tab, and in that resources tab, is that where the white page is?
Yeah. If you put your information in here, you guys get to see my personal email there. That's awesome. No, it's fine. I really could care less if you guys want to email me there. So yeah, if you put your information in there, you're going to get one of those resources is the Finding Your Why guide. So you can put your information in there. But that's probably the quickest and easiest way. If you think I'm too scary to talk to, then that's fine. But I'm not. I promise, right, Todd? I'm not that scary.
Nope, you may not like some of the things that we have to say, but that's good because we're not here to appease you. We're here to make you better. Because believe me, I get told I'm wrong, and my thing is why. I ask, why do you feel that way? Why is that? I'm a big why asker. It just I want to know why. I'm not an asshole. I want to know. If this doesn't work, and in that questions, that's what a lot of our. We don't tell you what to do. We ask you questions, and then you make the decision of, oh. Yeah. Okay. Now I can see where that is, and that's what a lot of it is just asking the questions, and then the answers start flowing for you. So yeah, ask away.
Totally. Awesome. All right. Well, Todd, let's see. Do the weird high five thing.
You're on that side.
I'm on this side tonight.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys. Talk to you tomorrow night. We will see you back here for defining. What's shoot?
On your brand.
Where'd it go? There it is. Define your brand, the brand. I don't know why I couldn't come up with that. I was thinking define yourself, but yeah, define your brand. All right, you guys. See you guys tomorrow night. We will talk to you then.
See you guys.